Morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly webinar, The Alliances. We are happy to have you and excited for some really great presentations today. We're thinking about a theme for today's webinar, and I think innovation is a really good topic and theme. And so we have some wonderful folks here to share the great work that they're doing. As a reminder, my name is Dave Miller. I'm the program director at the Alliance, and I use he, him, his pronouns. In the news, as much as we talk about innovation in the state, and as much as we talk about great things happening, as is our practice every week, we take a moment of silence for those lives that have been lost. Yesterday, we crossed the 100,000 threshold of lives. And so this is a very somber moment for our country. If you watch the news, you'll hear all kinds of comparisons about what that number means and how many wars we fought where lives have been lost. But we are in a fight right now. And so I think we're all trying to do our best to stay strong and stay connected. And so with that, I think we'll all just take a moment of silence for that very grim and humbling milestone. Okay. So with that, we're going to try and focus on some positive news today and lift our spirits and make sure that we're working as much as we can to be as strong as possible during these times and think about the great things coming in the future. So with that, we have three great presenters here with us. Miss Olivia Ainsworth, who is the CEO and founder of the Free Source Navigation. Lynn Besing, who is the Director of Community Impact at the United Way of Southeast Mississippi. And we have Errolyn Gray, who is the Golden Triangle Regional Hub Director with Volunteer Mississippi's Volunteer and Nonprofit Hub Network. So a wonderful, wonderful presentation is ahead of us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our first innovator, Miss Olivia Ainsworth. Olivia, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. First up, thank you all for having me. Thank you to the Alliance. Thank you, Dave. Also on the call, I have my coworkers, Catherine Kerrigan and Bruce Frank, who are assisting with PR, marketing, and also the business structure. Give me a second, let me share my screen. Can I have to give you access? Hey, Dave, you may have to give me access again. It's locked up.
Sure, not a problem.
Sorry, guys.
There we go.
So thank you again. I am so excited to talk to you about my project and my passion called Free Resource Navigation. We are a patented mobile application designed to connect individuals to personalized leads of services and programs that could enrich your life, always free. Before I tell you about us, I want to tell you why there is an us. In 2010, I was fresh out of college. I went to Mississippi State University I was working an entry-level position. The job market in 2010, if any of you can recall, was horrible. I also ended up a single mother, and in an entry-level position after I paid insurance and taxes and into a 401k, I was bringing home about $1,500 a month. As you can imagine, it was near impossible to keep a roof over my head, food on the table, and care for an infant child. I vividly remember scouring government websites, looking into nonprofits, looking at education and job skill training to see if there was anything out there specific to my need that could help in the difficult time I had found myself in. Long story short, I filled out a few applications. One took several hours and the websites were a mess. It was hard even to find the resources I was looking for, and got to the end of an application and I made a few hundred too much a year, didn't qualify. I was frustrated and decided that the only thing out there for me was hard work and a little bit of luck and a lot of prayer. Today, I've been with Centerpoint Energy for 5 years, and this project is approved through their legal team, and I'm delighted that I can do this also on the side as it comes from such a personal place. My work, as I moved up in the corporate world, I have seen truly the abundance of resources that are out there that I had no idea about. Although technology has improved over the last 10 years, websites are better. They're easier to navigate. The same problem persists in connecting people to resources and services in a personalized manner, all in one place and with an all-encompassing view. So with that, Free Resource Navigation was born. About us. We offer a patented mobile application that works as a resource navigation tool to provide free, personalized leads to services and programs to enrich lives. Government, nonprofit, for-profit, services and programs are all applicable to this site. We're registered in Mississippi, doing business under Fundamental Incentive Navigation, LLC. The app so far has been self-funded. There are no outside partners, no grants, and this is 100% a personal project to date. The WIT group from Ridgeland, Mississippi is the development team, and I plan to offer this service for free to all Mississippi residents of age. App platform and release date will be available for download via Apple and Google Play stores for compatibility with both iPhone and Android smartphones. Downloads to consumers are going to be available by June 1st, so pretty exciting. I want to talk about the user experience, what happens when you log in, and how you download the app. So for you that are not familiar with what an app is, you download this in the Apple or Google Play Store. It is called Free Resource Navigation. You set up a username and password. You create a profile based upon a series of socio-demographic questions. And I will describe more about the socio-demographic questions in the next slide. Once your profile is created, you will be shown a result page with personalized service and program leads. It is worth noting, we don't want any personal identifiable information. We are not asking for your street address, we don't want your last name, we don't want your social security, and we certainly don't want to violate any HIPAA laws with personal health questions. This is a visual of what some of the socio-demographic questions look like. So your birth date to get your general age, your gender, are you a US citizen, are you active military, are you a veteran, what is your education level, your housing situation, your general income, and not all of these questions have to be answered. It's at a user discretion. However, it's worth noting the more that you answer, the better filter your result page will be. These are just further some questions. How many dependents do you have and their general age range? The reason for that being is super simple. If you have, a child that's 0 to 4, you don't or are not ready to look at youth programs for 12 to 14-year-olds. Employment status and marital status. Again, you can answer what you are comfortable with. The second photo on here where it says offerings, that is what the offering screen will look like, and users will get alerts when there are applicable leads to these services and programs within that criteria. How criteria is matched, how leads are provided in the user experience. Now, when I say partner, I don't necessarily mean a financial partner. Partner I'm describing is anyone who offers a program or resource that could enrich a life. If you are one of these people, you have the ability to log in through freeresourcenavigation.com, where you create and control the program and set the parameters for the matching criteria. You also have the capability to view data and analytics in real time and export it into Excel. This is how the partner website is laid out. You would put your information in, and it really is a duplicate of the socio-demographic questions. So if one of these questions is an eligibility requirement, you simply check the box and it becomes live in the coordinating users service page. So for example, if you offer housing in Mississippi to first-time home buyers, then the qualification would be Mississippi and the person doesn't yet own a home. You can put in your age parameters, and that is how these leads are created. Right now, with launch, as we are in the beta testing and right here at launch point, it is most important for us to create a large network, diverse network of partners and service providers. We ask that you consider joining our growing list to advertise your services to the intended's recipients. Members support our vision in connecting Mississippians to service and programs that will truly enrich their lives. Members support providing the service for free to all Mississippi residents 18 years of age and older. If you're interested or if you know anyone who would be an ideal candidate, this is our contact information, and I'll also be available after to take any questions. With that, Dave, that really concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Olivia. So a couple of questions. Can you talk about some of the folks who you already have partners with, so we can kind of give those who are here a sense of organizations that are already involved in and sort of topics that might help them generate some ideas?
Sure. Just a good example, and people that I've been in contact with so far: Mississippi Home Court, Mississippi Development Association, several nonprofits, Extra Table, Second Chance Mississippi, of course you guys at Alliance, some for-profit businesses such as banks that are offering, certainly during COVID, SBA loans, just really an array and a large variety of different service providers, everything from veteran services. It's just a place to connect all offerings in an all-encompassing overview. And again, anyone who offers any type of program or service that could enrich or better a life belongs on this app and belongs here.
Wonderful. We have a couple of questions here. The first one is from Marianne Placencia. Sure. How will clients find out about the app? And by clients, Marianne, if I'm wrong, I think we're talking about the end user, so individuals in Mississippi, not necessarily organizations.
Yes, and let me start this, and I'm going to hand it over to Catherine Kerrigan, but Right now, the most important part is recruiting partners and service providers so that when a user logs in, there is enough information. With technology, I always say it's sort of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. You can't really promote an app that doesn't have enough information. So we're really trying to build a very well-rounded, robust model for Mississippi that truly helps Mississippians. So Catherine, could you please take them through our marketing plan for our beta launch, recruitment of partners, and then end users?
Of course, and good morning to everyone. It's nice to meet everyone. Yeah, so really it's broken down into two facets. One is PR, the other is social media. And PR is really divided into two elements, right? One is what I'll call industry or trade. So really connecting with new organizations, getting the word out, you know, having articles produced in different, I'll call them trade magazines, but really nonprofit organizations and trade collateral. And the second is working with Mississippi editors, producers, bloggers, influencers, all of that to really just send out press releases and ensure that we have articles and, you know, TV spots. And so it will be a full-blown PR campaign. So that'll be the biggest part. And then as we gain momentum, the second element is social media. So as we all know, we've all gone to Facebook and you see your friend looking for recommendations and things like that. And what's great about social media is that, especially for, you know, a mobile app like this, when something is great and there's it fills a need, people are more inclined to share it, right? So, you know, we're going to have a big social media campaign and really just keep, you know, ensuring that people are sharing information. And it's very simple, right? So if I find a great organization that really helped me, I'm the first one to go to social media and tell all my friends about it. So it's kind of like the tell 10 friends kind of campaign, but we'll have beautiful content and imagery and, you know, constantly promote the programs that we have. And it'll be a very smart strategic campaign to really just get the word out.
Wonderful. Thank you. We have another question here coming from Sammy. So this app basically is a connector application, connecting individuals that need information or services or want to volunteer to nonprofits and other organizations that provide opportunities. If that's correct, is there any screening done other than demographics to ensure a quality experience?
Yeah, so we have developed, and this is Catherine again, we have developed a way to look at all of the programs. There's a lot of programs out there, and we are very conscious about bringing in quality programs, right? So we're not just taking any and all program that's out there or nonprofit that's out there. We're very strategic in really vetting our programs to ensure that they're doing the right thing. They have, you know, all of their documentation and, you know, we really take time to vet them. We have multiple conversations. We kind of dig in deeper into how their company or organization is structured to ensure that it's reputable, they're doing the right thing. And then it also matches what our users need. So we do have a pretty strong vetting process, which really is, you know, many conversations, asking the right questions, and really digging into as much company information as we can get.
And Catherine, let me add on to that. Our partner agreements are incredibly strong. They're legally binding, and that your information that you're putting on the site is true, it is up to date. Also, to become a partner, you can't just go to freeresourcenavigation.com and simply put in your information. I have to give you access as the admin to create a login space. and then it's all you. But there are contracts in place, and my hope is that through word of mouth and referrals from that, we really create a network of reputable companies and strong partnerships, and also have those protective measures in place. So yeah, we're there. We've thought of that.
Wonderful. And I know that you you put this on your PowerPoint, but if you would do us a favor and pop the information into the chat about how people can connect with you, that would be helpful so they can copy and paste that. And just as a reminder to folks, this is free. So once you go through that vetting process, you know, there's no service fee for staying a partner. And so it's a really great way to get connected to end users. So if you've got a service out there, definitely talk to Olivia and let's help get Mississippi connected to free resources.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Can you see? Can you all see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. I do need to take the screen back. I have something to share with our folks. But if you could just copy or type in that email address and phone in the chat box, that would be fantastic.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll do. Got it.
Thank you. All right. Well, before we move on to our next presenter, the Alliance loves innovating too. And so we have something pretty exciting to share. So first off, let me start with a reminder that we are actively still doing our trainings. We have 2 trainings left. One is on the 28th today for Basic Grant Strategies Part 2. So definitely we still have spaces. It's at 1 o'clock. Feel free to register. We'd love to have you join. And then Social Intelligence for Self-Management, that was actually bumped to June 1st. So there's definitely still time to get registered for that. The other thing I want to highlight is, and let me share this, our June training schedule. So this is hot off the press, and if you received the oopsies, did not mean to close that. If you received the email from us, then you probably saw this. So we have 15 different sessions available throughout the course of June. So this is going to be a packed month. One of the new things that we're introducing is if you look to the far right, you will see Quick Bites. This is a Friday lunch and learn. So from 12:15 to 12:45, we're going to have a 30-minute session on a variety of topics where they're fun, they're engaging, they're meant for you to be able to eat your lunch while we're learning together. So pack a good meal. We're starting a little bit later, so that way you have time to cook that meal if you need to, or you can join in at 12 and chat before we get started. And so if you're doing it during your lunch break, you have time to eat your lunch, get some learning done, and then get back to work and have a little bit of time before you have to be back at your desk at 1. So we hope that you will join us in our 10 regular sessions and our 5 special Quick Bites. Now, with this, we decided to do a little bit of innovation and try something new. So because you all are attending the weekly webinar, and there are 29 of you here now, so this is something that we're going to do every week. The first 3 people to register from this webinar and sign up for 3 or more sessions will receive one of those for free. So that means that you can get 3 sessions for the price of 2, 3 trainings for the price of 2. So the first 3 people, I'm watching the inbox right now. I'm watching to see if I get those notifications. If you go to our website, I just popped it in the chat. If you go to the website, you go under Learn and you click on trainings. Go ahead and pick 3 or more, and the first 3 get 2 of them, or sorry, you get 3 for the price of 2. So one of them will be free, and that does include our May trainings as well. So definitely take advantage of this, and we're going to be doing this every week. So make sure that you get to the weekly webinar early, so that way we can go ahead and get you registered. And that will also be true, like I said, every week. But so the first 3 who get here each weekly webinar. So if you get here a little bit late, you might miss that. So we hope that you can join us. And with that, I am going to turn this over to our next presenter. We have the pleasure of being joined by Kari, Lynn, Besing, who is going to be talking about how the United Way of the Southeast is innovating in this time. So Kari, Lynn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dave. I don't have any slides or anything, so I'll just be chatting with you all. Please excuse the poor design of my computer. The webcam is at the bottom of the screen, so I'm not going to be making a lot of eye contact. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and just thank you so much for having us on here. To tell you all just a little bit about United Way, I know many of you have heard the name, and for those of you who don't, you're about to hear a little bit more. And so all United Ways are locally run and organized, and they have their own governance. So you might have heard about United Way Worldwide, and then that is an overarching support team that supports all of the local United Ways. But even just up the road from us in Laurel, we're based in Hattiesburg. They are run differently than the way that we are run, and they offer different services than what we are offering. And so just because you know about one United Way doesn't necessarily mean that you know about another, which is a really unique way of having it set up, because we're able to directly meet the needs of our local communities rather than having to listen to someone who might be based in Washington, D.C. telling us what we have to do in Hattiesburg. We do serve Forest, Lamar, Marion, and Perry counties, and all United Ways have a specific service area that they also focus on, and we have to stay within those 4 counties to be good stewards of donor money, because it's coming in from those counties and we keep it in those counties. Our overarching mission is to support our neighbors and our community members in the areas of education, health, and financial stability, and we do that in a variety of ways. In the past, United Way has been known for as simply a fundraising model. We raise money and then we disseminate it to nonprofits who are doing programs or for other needs that they're trying to meet, and it's kind of a grant writing or a grant implementing program and an organization. However, in the last few years, United Way has shifted to what we call an impact model. And so now we are focusing specifically on trying to move the needle in a variety of areas in those impact areas: education, health, and financial stability. And so that looks different across United Ways as well. So for example, in education, we are funding programs that are very specific and can provide data and information about 3 things: making sure that kids are ready to learn by the time they make it to kindergarten, that they are reading on grade level by the 3rd grade, and that they're graduating, and that they're graduating on time. And so if there might be a really great education program out there, but if they're not meeting one of those 3 areas, then unfortunately they aren't a partner of ours, just because we are trying to be very specific and be able to talk about what we're trying to do in that specific impact area. And so that way we can have a more concentrated effort in moving the needle. And then we also are able to implement some new programs within United Ways. So staying on that education track, we run a Dolly Parton Imagination Library. We're a host site for one of those, which is a program that mails free books every month to children between the ages of 0 and 5. And we also work with a variety of partners in other programs, such as our community baby shower. We try to focus on reducing infant mortality by providing a community baby shower that educates either new mothers or expecting mothers about things that would impact the health of their newborn child. And so we talk about safe sleep, we talk about car seat, we talk about CPR training, God forbid that would ever be needed, but we just want to make sure that moms are prepared for those things. And so we're really able to shift from that fundraising and just, raising money and sending it out to the same partner agencies year after year. And we're really trying to focus on specific issues And, you know, if there's a less well-known nonprofit, but they're doing some really good work, we want to find ways to be able to help them implement their programs. And we also do that through community collaboration. That is a very important aspect of United Way of Southeast Mississippi that we hone in on, the importance of communication across agencies. We want our agencies that we're working with to know each other, to know what they're doing. And so we've implemented quarterly CEO meetings, because you would think that all of our executive directors of our partner agencies would know each other and would know what they're doing, but that's just simply not the case because we're all so busy. And so we do our best to bring them all together to be able to talk to each other, to collaborate with one another, so that way we can really create this entangled safety net for our community, rather than it being a, you know, you go here for this, you go there for that, and it can get confusing for people who are looking for services, just like we found out with the free resource app that's coming out. That's going to be phenomenal for people in our area. But then we also try to use that collaboration to come together in times of need. So for example, the tornado that came through Easter, that was nearby, and then the following week after that, we had another tornado actually hit within Marion County, which is one of our services areas. And so we use our partner agencies to create this rapid response team. And so, for example, one of our partner agencies is Christian Services, and because of COVID and because of the tornado, we were able to receive this huge shipment of paper towels from Green Bay Converting, but we had no way of receiving it because, frankly, we had an office in downtown that has about 5 offices in it that fits us, and not so much 100 pallets of paper towels. And so we worked with Christian Services to promote that they store the paper towels and they help disseminate them to organizations, but we were able to get the word out about them. We were able to develop a screening system to make sure that nonprofits who were getting it were serving a variety of areas and a variety of needs. So that way it wasn't just going to in city limits of Hattiesburg. We wanted to make sure we were getting out into Perry County. We were getting out to the disaster relief in Marion County. And so it's partnerships like that that are so enriching in this community. I am from Indiana. I moved here from Indianapolis a few years ago, and it is amazing the difference that Southern hospitality and even just Hattiesburg, the relationship between nonprofits is incredibly different. There is no competition. It feels like we're just all in it together. We all lean on each other, and we just try to build off of that relationship as much as possible. And so then going into the COVID relief, COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and who knows how long that's going to continue. And so one thing that we have implemented, thanks to the partnerships and the relationships that we have, is the COVID-19 relief program. And I know many people in our state are doing very similar things, and I just thank you so much for allowing us to share our program. I can't wait to hear more about other programs that are able to be highlighted moving forward. But for our purpose, I'll tell you a little bit about the process of how we got to the COVID-19 relief program, because as part of our mission, we don't typically provide direct financial assistance. We do still stay within the model of we raise funds and we provide grants. But that process just looks a little different with the impact model. But we rarely ever in a situation that we would raise funds and give it to an individual, because we don't have case managers on our team. We don't have a way to do the vetting process that is so needed whenever you're working with individuals and trying to get them help and making sure that they have the resources to get the help that they need. But financial assistance is incredibly needed right now for our neighbors. For those, especially, talking with people on the phone day after day when this first hit, where they weren't let go. They are being required to still work, but they are only working 20 hours compared to their 40 hours. And so they can't get unemployment, and there isn't enough security in order to quit the part-time 20 hours to find a full-time, or you don't want to quit for 8 weeks of unemployment and sever a relationship with an employer who has been good to you, but just can't give you more hours right now. And you're behind on your bills, and you've never been behind on your bills, and you don't know what that looks like, and you don't know what to do. And so we had to do something. And it was a trial and error process, and it took us longer than I personally wanted to get it out there, but I think it all happens for a reason. I think we all feel that way too, because we were facing this roadblock of how do we get the help to people while social distancing? How do we keep people safe while also getting them help? And we went back and forth with a variety of our partner agencies, including Edward Street down here and Christian Services, and we even teamed up with some nonprofits in Columbia, Mississippi, to try and figure out if there was a way that we could have people kind of drive up and do a voice-to-voice application process and provide their documents, print them, and then send them. And the basis of the program is we're mailing a check to utility and rent companies. So we were just going to be doing that process. But even then, you're risking people coming to the parking lot and standing and waiting in line, and that's not safe at all. And it's hard to manage that. And so finally, we decided to go to an online application. And even then, you have questions of equity, and you have questions of resources of people who have access to internet, who have access to a smartphone, who even have the technical knowledge to be able to navigate an online application. And that's one of the reasons why it took us so long to kind of figure out what was the balancing act here. And so we did move forward with the online application, and we launched that 2.5 weeks ago. And so essentially what we're doing is we're helping households in Forest, Lamar, Marion, and Perry counties, and they have lost their jobs because of COVID-19, or they've seen a reduction in hours because of COVID-19, and it has to specifically be because of the virus. And that they have past due bills. We get that question a lot of why does it have to be past due? And essentially it comes down to the money isn't going to be coming forever, and it didn't come down in a huge wave. So we're essentially triaging. We're trying to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the people who, if they don't get their power or light bill or their water bills paid, that come June 1st, they're going to be cut off. And then from there, we'll keep seeing what we can do. But right now we're focusing on those where we don't want June 1st to get here and people to be without. And so we've been doing that, and we've been able to help over 70 households, and we've given out over $20,000 in rental and utility assistance to households who meet those criteria, and we are only giving up to $500 per household. And it goes directly to the power company, the water company, the gas company. And I'm so excited to say that that I think we'll be able to do it still based off of donations that have come in since we've been able to start the program for at least another 3 weeks. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And we couldn't do it without Christian Services because, like I said, we're not case managers. I'm not looking at these applications and trying to figure out who needs it and who doesn't. And so Christian Services does have case managers. So I handle the online applications, and I organize them the best I can to make it as easy for them, and I email them onto the case managers at Christian Services every day, and they review them. And they were already paying utilities before COVID hit, so they already had a process in place to manage it, and so they're the ones who are sending out the checks, and then that paperwork comes back to me, and then I put the information into Charity Tracker. And so we've been able to set up this whole partnership process using the strengths of each organization, and I'm so excited that it's helped so many people. Whenever we look at the households, we're looking at 117 adults and 118 children in those households, based off of my last numbers. And so it's just been incredibly, those numbers are a lot more comforting than the numbers we see every day of the cases, and just be able to have that in response to what COVID is harming our community with gives it a little bit more manageable, and you feel like you're surviving maybe a little bit better. And so I'm happy to answer any other questions about that. I do just want to hit on one last thing. I know my time's running up, but Dave asked me to also talk about just like how is COVID going to impact us in the long term. And I think this is something that all of us are questioning right now, and I don't think any of us really have any answers. But just to give an idea of what we're doing, we are looking at moving to online fundraising for the campaign season that's coming this fall. I think we're all just going to stay as conservative as possible in our efforts to make sure that individuals stay safe, and finding ways to do impact stories over Zoom and providing those on social media, and looking at ways for donors to give either on our website or on an online platform that we use for donor management. And really, the story of what our community is doing is going to look so different than in past years. I just think back to last fall, and whenever we did campaign season of fundraising, I was telling stories of the 3rd grade reading levels, and I was telling stories of Habitat weatherizing homes. And I think this fall, it's going to be the fact that Aldersgate Mission, you know, they do a reading program after school, and they still did that online, but they partnered with another organization to make sure that the kids that were in their community were eating. And it's going to be about the stories of adapting to situations and working together and providing communication channels, and that essential services includes nonprofits, and that even though we're all hurting a little bit right now, a $5 donation is going to help make sure that the services that are still so needed in times of crisis or otherwise can still be provided. And I think all of our agencies are going to see that impact in a variety of ways. I don't know of one of our agencies that's been able to carry business as usual, and I haven't seen any of them planning on business as usual for quite some time. So that story is really going to expand, and we're going to see some changes. But I'm really excited about the work that's being done. I think it's only going to be a better message, and it's only going to tell a better story of how strong we all are when we work together. So.
Kari, I couldn't agree more. I think it's a perfect sentiment. It is while this is a tough time, it's also a beautiful time for us to all come together and work together. So thank you for highlighting some of the work, a lot of the work that you all are doing. And while I wouldn't know what to do with 100 pallets of paper towels showing up at my front door.
And we got them out to people. That was what I was so excited. Like, we aren't sitting on 100 pallets of paper towels. We've got only 17 pallets left. They got out to people. Like, it was great.
That's incredible. It's incredible. And I love stories like that. We will be following up with you on that. I'm wondering, I'd like to open the floor up to folks who have questions or would like to know more about the work they're doing or anything else. So please feel free to pop into the chat or turn your mic on and ask Errolyn some questions. I see lots of shouting out and recognition in our chat. So I agree, y'all are doing amazing work down there. So I'll open the floor for just a couple of minutes. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Let's see here. Always dependent on volunteers. Can you talk about the volunteer roles?
Absolutely. So right now, volunteerism looks different, and I think Allie is on this call. Allie is our hub director for Southeast Mississippi, and she's just been doing a phenomenal job finding ways for volunteers to get involved with what we're needing. So specifically for COVID relief, we're not using volunteers for that. But just yesterday, we spent about 6 hours packing dog food and cat food for the food pantry. We had a large shipment come in through a donation. I think it was Greater Good of dog food and cat food, and so we were able to bring like 10 volunteers into the convention center and pack food to be able to give to Edward Street Food Pantry, so that way families who have pets and receive food pantry bags can also receive a bag of dog food or cat food per animal. And so we're trying to find ways that volunteers can come, and it's amazing how quickly the volunteer sign up kind of filled up as soon as we really got the word out. And I think it's because people are so looking for ways to help right now. And they are so wanting to get into it. And I see Allie just posted a comment. So yes, if you're in a service area and you haven't talked to Allie, I strongly encourage you to do so, because we are doing everything we can to get people ways to help. And I think we're continuing to find innovative ways to do that as Day of Action comes up in the next few weeks. And so yeah, she would love to connect with you. So it's Allie at UnitedWaySEMS.org or volunteer SEMS at UnitedWaySEMS.org.
Since you brought it up and we have a couple of minutes, can you talk a little bit about the Day of Action and what that is and what that might look like, and is that something that is local to you all or something that's statewide, and just kind of give people a sense of what that day is?
Yeah, so Day of Action is a United Way worldwide event. It is something that happens on the longest day of the year, because who doesn't want more time to volunteer and do something good for the community? It also happens to be during the hottest part of the year, it feels like, so I'm pretty sure the people who made this up live up north. But essentially, it's just an opportunity to bring your community together, but I think it's also a vital way to bring your donors into the community who may not really know what you're doing with the money that's coming in and the donations being made. And it's a way to connect them to, I'm so glad that you're investing in us financially, but let's invest you into the community with your time and your talent. And so it's really just trying to find ways to get people to see the value in volunteering and the value of providing services. And this year, Day of Action looks very different, because we've talked about, what about just mailing notes to people in nursing homes or care packages? And I think we're still trying to figure out all the details and logistics of this year before, and I don't want to announce anything prematurely, just as things seem to change daily. But essentially, we are looking at ways to do things either from the safety of your home, even trying to find ways to get children involved, so that way those parents who are just scrambling for things to keep their children entertained might have something to do with them, especially now that school is ending. But yeah, we're just trying to find different ways to do things at home but also do some good right now.
That's wonderful. And I am sure there are a lot of parents who would love some new ideas of things to do. So here for that. What is the specific date again for that?
Ooh, Allie, is it June 19th? June 18th? It's something around that time.
Allie, if you'll pop that in the chat or come on, we'll definitely make sure we get that out there. And also, if people want more information about how to get involved with that, should they contact their local United Way or their Volunteer in Mississippi Hub Director? Would that be a good way to get involved?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, Kari, Lynn,
can you hear me? Hi, this is
yes.
Allie.
Hey, Allie.
I was typing as quick as I could, but I just wanted to pop on and say, first off, great job, Kari Lynn, with that impromptu talk about our Day of Action. But yes, we are looking and shooting for Friday, June 19th. And as she said, we are slowly trying to process ways to make it as effective, but most importantly, safe for our communities. So if you're in our area, just reach out to either one of us and we'll be more than happy to help you in any way that we can.
Beautiful. All right, y'all. Well, I look forward to hearing many stories about people who are on this webinar or those who are going to be watching from home later on that you are getting involved. So we'll check in on that as the weeks get closer. So thank you, Kari Lynn and Allie, for the work that you're doing. And Kari Lynn, that was a lot of information. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to turn it over to another one of our amazing hub directors, Miss Errolyn Gray.
Good morning, everybody. As Dave said, my name is Errolyn Gray, and I'm the Hub Director for the Golden Triangle Regional Hub. We have 7 counties: Lowndes, Noxubee, Clay, Oktibbeha, Winston, Webster, and Choctaw, and I always have to say them in that order. So a little bit about myself. I went to Alcorn State University for undergrad and Mississippi State for grad school. So ever since undergrad, I have always been in between the government sector or the nonprofit sector. So I've never worked for the for-profit sector. So maybe I'll try that out one day. But my passion is anti-poverty. So I think not saying that being a hub director isn't great, but I think the most exciting job I've ever had is when I was working for a nonprofit that did lobby. So it kind of tied both of those worlds together. So that was pretty exciting. But a little bit about what we've been doing. Dave asked me to share a few positive highlights. So one thing that we're doing in one of our counties, which is Lowndes, is we partner with a local church to make high quality face masks. Of course, they're not N95, but our goal is 1,000 and we are approaching that number. Mid-March, when the coronavirus pandemic started, we started running 5 feeding sites. So that just ended on May 22nd. So this is the first week where we handed that baton off to the school district. Initially, they were not able, because nobody was ready for this. Nobody knew that this was coming. So when it started, they weren't in a position where they could man these 5 feeding sites. They were only able to man the feeding sites that happened at their school location. So now they're in a better position. They have the right footing where they can come in and start manning those sites on their own. So this is their first week. So I've still been working with them to try to make that a smooth transition. Our last week, the school staff came in and shadowed our volunteers to see how we run things so that they wouldn't have to experience the same struggles that we did going in. So that's been really successful.
I think we just got cut off. Let's see. Errolyn, are you still there? Let's see.
Errolyn,
I
475.
Errolyn, I think you cut out there for just a little
I'm
bit.
sorry.
So no, you're fine. So if you'll go back to
Okay,
the work you were doing with the school district, you said that you are in the process of passing that baton.
Yeah, I got a phone call in the middle of that, so sorry. But yeah, so we've passed that on, and we served 475 meals per day in 5 of our housing sites. So that was amazing, and that work is still going on. Like I said, we're just pulling our volunteers away so that we can focus on other things. So that, I think, is a huge highlight. 2 of the things that we've been doing, we've done in partnership with United Way, which is where I'm housed. So United Way of Lowndes and Noxubee, we did a food drive mid this month, and it went extremely well. So tomorrow, we're actually doing another one in Noxubee County. And then in June, we'll do another one in Lowndes. So we're getting geared up for that. We're really excited about it. It's looking really nice. And I'm thinking about making that our June Day of Action, not quite sure yet, because like Southeast mentioned, this is just a lot of moving pieces for us right now. But those are our highlights. Challenges: getting volunteers near the middle of that stretch of those feeding sites Monday through Friday, asking people to come out that early every day. Near the middle of that, it was quite difficult to get volunteers. Maybe they got tired, I don't know. But near the end, I had a surplus. So I'm not quite sure how that happened, but I'm glad it did. That was a blessing. And a second challenge is just right now being a one-man team. I don't have an assistant right now. So since COVID started in February, I lost my assistant. She wanted to be able to spend more time with her kids and do things like that. So just trying to get all this together on my own, that's definitely a challenge. But hey, we're working through it. And goals are to establish VRCs in every county that I serve. I was on the way to doing that pre-COVID. So of course I've had to take a pause from that. But I have to say that this pandemic has enabled me to strengthen my relationships with each EMA director. So I think that'll be fruitful on the other side of this when it comes to establishing those volunteer reception centers. So I'm really excited about that. So that is a goal. And a second goal is just to build my volunteer base, which is always the goal of the hub. So that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Errolyn. I can only imagine what this has been like as a one-person team. So thank you for, I am sure, a lot of hours that you have put into this. You are doing amazing things out there. And we look forward to hearing more about your day of action and how people can get involved. So definitely keep us in the loop on that. Let's go ahead and open it up to general questions that you have for any of our presenters. We've got about 4 minutes left on the clock, so feel free to use the chat or to turn on your webcam or your microphone and ask away. I just heard some words. Okay. Well, while we're waiting, if you're thinking, actually, I saw a question from Francisco earlier in the chat. Does anybody know when the museums, will open? Anybody have any updates on that? I know I haven't heard. I know the governor said that businesses would open on June 1st. I'm not sure if that precludes the museums or if they're part of that.
I think he said everything opens on June 1st with some limitations. Now, what that is, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I remember him mentioning MBAH will probably be lagging behind. He did specifically say MBAH, the museums that fall under them.
Okay. Well, if you have any other updates, feel free to pop that in the chat, but that is a really good question, Francisco. I'm sure they're working to try and figure out how they can open safely. So that'll be interesting to see. All right. Francisco, I see that you're trying to speak, but it's coming through a little bit messed up. So Francisco, if you want to pop that in the chat, we might be able to answer it that way. I'll make sure that we mute you there so we don't have too much background noise. All right. Well, with that, folks, we have time for about one community announcement. Does anybody have anything they would like to share with the group? No announcements? We got a quiet group today. All right, we got to get more coffee out there before. Have a pre-webinar chat, get people jazzed up. Well, thank you for taking the time to be here. We love having these weekly webinars, and we hope that you all are getting useful and up-to-date information. I want to highlight that on our website, we now have a weekly webinar section in the Learn area. And so if you would like to request to be a presenter, or you know other individuals who you think would make great presenters, please direct them there. There's a form they can fill out to sign up. We love having community partners involved, so we definitely want to make sure we share that resource. Also, you can go on the web and on the same page and see all of our previous webinars. So feel free to reach out if you need anything. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and thank you, and weekend. And thank you, Olivia, Kari, and Errolyn for taking the time to share today, and thank you all for taking the time to be here. Have a wonderful and safe rest of your week and weekend. Take care.